Alrighty, so who wants to chair the meeting?
My wife does a good job of that.
Go for it, Tom.
I guess I will. Notice is hereby given that the Alpine Advisory Board of the City of Alpine, Texas will hold a meeting at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, October 25th, 2021 at City Council Chambers located at 803 West Holland Avenue and via Zoom for the purpose of considering the attached agenda. Meeting login details may be found on the city website 24 hours prior at the meeting link. This notice is posted pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act. Action items approved at this meeting will go to the city council for consideration. So I call this meeting to order. Let's do a determination of the quorum and proof of notice of the meeting. And do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
We do.
4 makes a quorum.
And we have the notice of the meeting.
Yep, that was posted at 5 p.m. on October 20th.
Okay. So item number 3, do we have any citizen comments?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of the minutes of the previous board meeting. We have A, August 23rd, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. And we have B, the September 27th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. One move to approve.
I'll move to approve.
I second. Discussion, we have none this time. All right, public hearings. The 3 items. First item, approve the recommendation to city council to amend the coin operated machine ordinance to include total allowable machines for establishment, updating the fee schedule, and updating the special use permit fee. Do we have any public comments?
No, we have received no comments on item A.
Okay. So item B, special use permit application to allow applicant Thomas Kellner to establish a wine bar, which would include the serving and sale of alcohol. Property is located at 116th North 5th Street. Record property owners, Loft Holdings LLC. Do we have any public comments on that?
The only comment received on item B was an email from Monica Quiroga, and that was included in your packet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you all find did you want me to read the letter?
Yes, if you
Okay, it
would.
says, hi Gio, I received a letter from the city of Alpine regarding the alcohol license permit being sought by Thomas and Sharon Kellner at 116 North 5th Street in Alpine. We stand in support of the Kellners and hope that their application, wherever they decide to open their business, is approved expediently and without impediment. And that's the end of the public comment for item B.
Okay. And Move on.
And
to
that's the building immediately adjacent to the Alpine Avalanche, is that correct?
Yes, it's where Taste and See used to be.
Okay.
Oh,
We'll move on to item C. Conditional use permit application to allow applicant Mark and Eden Henshaw doing business as Rue Alpine to establish a mixed-use occupancy residential with separate commercial kitchen on premise. Property is located at 1008 West Sol Ross Avenue. Record property owners are Mark and Eden Henshaw.
Okay, no comments were received on item C.
Okay. All right. So move on to the next item, action items. So first action item is to approve the recommendation to City Council to amend the coin-operated machine ordinance to include the total allowable machines per establishment, updating the fee schedule, and updating the special use permit. And they,
Just need a motion to discuss, a motion on the table in order to have that discussion.
I make a motion to discuss item A.
Second,
Okay. So on that one, this is the same text that we had from the previous meeting that we didn't have a quorum, right?
Yes, that is correct. So this one is adding in a fee. So it is just kind of clarifying that there is a $350 special use permit fee, which is generally going to be that fee for every special use permit. But also, Jessica, I believe we added the $3,000 here. Is that right? There already was a $3,000. But what we were doing is clarifying the special use permit fees in addition to that $3,000.
okay.
Also, this ordinance establishes a maximum of 8 machines per establishment. And essentially, we did receive advice from our attorney that said it could be effective immediately upon passage. So basically, he said that if the commission wanted to go ahead and implement that right away, that they would have to take those machines down to 8 in order to be in compliance.
and is there also a limit of the number of permits that will be granted citywide?
There was already a limit in there. Was it 4?
Yeah, that was passed a while in the last ordinance. So there's 4 establishment minimum
Maximum.
or maximum, sorry. Yeah, there's 4 max, and then there's the $3,000 was already put in the last ordinance. We're just clarifying the fee schedule, which would be $350 plus the 3,000. So the 350 is the application fee, which goes through P&Z and then goes to council. And the 3,000 is for the actual application for a coin operated business.
I'm just curious, why is it so much?
Right, it was 1,000 and it was increased to 3,000. I think it's because of the liability it brings, the type of business it is.
And how many of those are actually operating now?
We have 3 active right now. The one that's over on the Oyo, next that little building next to the Oyo. We have one on Murphy Street that used to be by Los Jalapenos.
Right.
And then the third one is kind of like part-time open, and they're not open as often, and that's next to the cleaners.
Okay.
So that's 3 sites with how many machines at each one? Any idea?
I mean, I don't have a list of each one, but there's over 20 in each one, I'm assuming. At least that many.
Wow. So this is a big reduction
Jesus.
for them.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. How do you get them in there?
I guess a dolly.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So,
I think they're
and
probably.
would you not count the American Legion as also having, no, because they're
No, we
nonprofit?
clarified that. I think Tom
Yeah, they're,
read the ordinance that they
Right.
don't qualify.
We had, can we do open discussion now?
Yes.
Okay. We had discussed recommending a smaller number of machines per business to the council, which personally I would favor. That's a lot of machines in town, it seems to me. But that So that's my opinion, is that maybe we drop that to 4, at least for conversation
So 4 machines per
business.
business.
Correct, yes. Because there have been, I mean, we've been talking about this for months. And I remember the former chief of police coming in and saying that he considered this a real crime
Mhm.
center potential. And I'm concerned about that. I don't want
We all-
neighborhoods saying, you know, look, this is drawing people into our neighborhood that we are uncomfortable with.
Y'all can certainly change the number to whatever y'all like, and after you make your recommendation, you know, council can definitely change it. Plus, the attorney would also be engaged as well, just to be sure. But he said 8 was fine, so I don't see why less than 8 would not be acceptable either. I think that'd be fine too.
I guess one thing about this, the whole thing about this is these people never come up and voice any opinion either way about the policies that we're considering, or they haven't ever told us exactly what they're doing or how they operate, et cetera. So cutting it down to 4, considering they're never here to refute or answer any questions, seems reasonable to me. And I would think that cutting it down to 4 would almost make it not worth their while, unless they're doing other things there.
Well, except they've already got them. So,
Well, but if they have 10 or 12, maybe that's worth their while financially
yeah,
to
that's true.
actually do that. But I don't have a problem at all with doing it 4, mainly because they never come here and voice any opinion about this,
Or a justification.
right?
There is a little bit of a language barrier there. I know that they struggle when they come to our office. Their English isn't the best. So that might be one of the reasons they're not here, because they're not comfortable expressing themselves in English. But I know that the one gentleman, that he operates 2 of them and he's trying to operate the 3rd. So he's trying to apply for that 4th spot. So even if he was to get all 3 spots, because he has a general coin operated business license, he's allowed to put machines in different locations based off of his license. So one person holding a license can open multiple establishments. So he's trying to get the 3rd one, and he would like the 4th, but Oyo is the one that's operating number one of them. So just so you know, that's how the coin operated business works, that you can have a general license and operate multiple across the state. And so,
But aren't we saying in Alpine
In
that you
Alpine.
can, that
so that one person. can
everybody can
occupy
only have
4 in every
4
one.
sites?
Hmm?
It was my understanding that this will restrict the city limits to 4 places where this type of gambling is available.
Yeah,
If we
but
said,
one man can take all 4 businesses and do them for himself.
Yeah. But
Right.
that would
Just so
be,
you know.
But that falls under our ordinance of 4,
4,
as
yeah.
long as it's under it.
the maximum you could actually have in Alpine, if we set it at 4, would be 16 total machines, right?
Mhm.
Well, I think the police chief, Mr. Martin, was not fond of these at all, if I recall. And just based on that, to assist them in doing their job, I would go for 4.
Okay, so we would just need a motion to amend that original motion. Can you just confirm that motion? The original motion was to approve the recommendation of city council, right?
before we move to that, I wonder if y'all have
No, I'm in agreement.
strong opinions either
Yeah, no,
way.
I have strong opinions, but that's why we brought it up, a couple months ago, and I'm just, I think that 4, I actually think 16 is too many, but 4 would, 4 per establishment. I would be in favor. of
So
that.
16 citywide is,
Right.
and
Yeah,
is
I'm
that,
fine with that.
that's okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm making a motion to amend the existing ordinance text to change it from 8 to 4.
I'll second.
And 4 businesses maximum citywide.
That's already in there. So we don't have to deal with that.
Okay, so y'all would vote on the amendment, and then you would vote on the original motion as amended. So,
So we vote on the original amendment. The original amendment was 8.
so the
Right?
original motion was 8, and then the amendment made it to 4.
Okay,
So you'll just vote to approve the amendment, then you'll go back to the original motion as amended. So in the end, you'd be saying you wanted 4.
okay.
All right, so let's vote on item A, the First Amendment, to approve the recommendation to City Council to amend the coin-operated machine ordinance to include the total allowable machines per establishment, updating the fee schedule, and updating the special use fee. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then the original motion as amended.
And I also vote on to approve the original motions as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Both motions carry.
So just as a triple check, could you please read us back the motion as amended, as recorded in the minutes?
So it will just be, the first motion was to improve the recommendation to City Council. And the second one was to amend that main motion to change the limit of machines to 4. And so basically what we'll be sending to City Council will be a limit of 4 machines per establishment.
And a limit of 4 establishments.
That will remain the same, yes.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to action item B, which is a special use permit application to allow applicant Thomas Kellner to establish a wine bar, which would include the serving and sale of alcohol. Property is located at 116 North 5th Street. Record property owner is Loft Holdings LLC. Make a motion to discuss this item.
Second.
Okay. So this used to be the Taste and See Bakery.
Right.
Sorry to see that go, but having a wine bar, as far as I'm concerned, is fine.
I agree. And it's a great building and I'm glad it's getting use. It's
Right.
has a lot of history.
And obviously their zoning is already correct for this type of use historically, because they were serving wine there before. And to my knowledge, there haven't been complaints about the service of alcohol at that location, as it's been used that way for the last several years. So I think this is a good idea to go forward with first.
Agree.
Any other
Me too.
discussion?
So I'm fine with it. Too. I mean, as long as there's something there,
Yeah,
I'm getting tired of seeing places becoming empty.
Right.
okay, let's go ahead and
Especially right at the core of downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
let's go ahead and vote on that one. All in favor of approving action item B, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. All right, the final action item is a conditional use permit application to allow applicant Mark and Eden Henshaw, DBA Rue Alpine, to establish a mixed-use occupancy residential with separate commercial kitchen on premises. Property is located at 1008 West Sol Ross Avenue. Record property owners Mark and Eden Henshaw. I'll make a motion to discuss this item.
So I have a question. So this is a commercial kitchen and.
Can somebody approve?
I'm sorry.
the motion?
Approve. Yeah.
Okay.
Second, did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay,
We're
I'll
good. Go
second.
ahead.
So it's a commercial kitchen and a restaurant? Just a commercial kitchen?
So what it is that that property is zoned commercial residential, but where their building sits is actually on the residential lot. So people have to drive through the commercial part of their property to get to the residential. And what it is a converted garage. Right now, they're making all their food out of the old Ritchie building behind there. And they're trying to set up a commercial kitchen for people to continue to do that same type of service where they'll actually come and, it's just a pickup location. So they're gonna use their establishment, that's an exterior building. They're converting into a commercial kitchen. They're gonna continue to make food, do pre-orders. People will drive in, pick up their orders and leave. It sits on the main one-way right next to the dollar store right here across the way from the dollar store, the older dollar store.
Okay,
General.
got it.
So it's right on the corner here. It
Okay.
says Sol Ross, but it's actually, the entrance will be on Avenue E.
Okay.
And it is zoned R1 residential.
It's their parcel that they own is part residential, part commercial. But the building that they're building on is in the residential part of their, so technically it's commercial when you drive in, but when you get to the actual building, it's residential.
Will they be doing business out of that building
Out of
as
that
opposed to the house?
So it'd be considered mixed use, yeah. It's not connected. So based off of Texas Health Code, you can't cook food and serve it inside your house. You can't dwell in that space. You have to be at least 10 feet off of your house.
Well, why is it mixed use if the part that has the kitchen is commercial?
The part that has the kitchen is in the residential part of their property.
Oh, okay.
You have to drive through the commercial part to get to the residential, and the actual building is on the residential.
Okay.
So
Well,
And is that actually their home?
they live there, yeah, on that property.
Okay.
And it's considered a non-conforming because it's not really a normal type of business. They're not really making it into a dining kitchen. It's gonna be the flow of traffic design and all of that has to come into consideration. People are gonna be pulling off the highway right there and picking up their food and coming back out. So that's also considered a different flow. They don't have neighbors, so that makes it a lot easier to make a decision. You know, in a residential street like in Lockhart or Sol Ross, where it's really, you know, when they have a cottage business, it does affect the people in their parking spaces and things like that. And this space won't really affect anybody in general.
So the traffic flow of people coming to pick up the food doesn't intersect any other R1
No, it's actually off of
properties.
the building, their house address is 1008 Sol Ross. But right before the bridge on Sol Ross,
Mhm.
you have to go up the stairs to get to their house. So it sits on the hill. And it shares that same parcel to the one way that goes over the railroad tracks over by.
Going west. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were no neighbors within 200 feet to send a letter to?
No comments, right, on that topic?
We didn't receive any. We did send letters to neighbors within 200 feet.
Okay.
How many letters were sent out to people
I'd have
within
to
that radius?
check.
So right across, okay, so on North 15th, is that where the dollar store is right there? So where you would enter, there's the dollar store, like right across.
Right across.
Do you know where, can you picture it in your mind where it is?
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
I actually have that we sent it to about 25.
right?
That were within 200 feet of the either the residential or the commercial lot,
Mhm.
because there's really two lots.
Yeah, so we covered quite a bit. That's pretty high for letters that we sent.
That is pretty
Did
high.
you say 25?
Yes.
Wow, that is a lot.
And I'm not really visualizing the traffic flow of their customers. I'm a little concerned that if you got people turning off and onto Highway 90, and I think, well, it's probably still 30 miles per hour at that location?
Mhm.
But, or are people gonna approach it from a different place than off of Highway 90?
Their pickup is most likely gonna go through Highway 90, because when you drive into their property, it's that commercial part of their property is empty, it's vacant, there's no building on it. So you can come in and turn around and come back out pretty easily in that drive. And then directly across the street, you can cross over the one way to get to the next one way. So either you can get on the one way going towards Marfa, or you can cross back over and go back on the next one, on one way. So the flow of traffic, I don't think will really be, and I don't think they have, I'd say like maybe 20 people picking up at a time, you know, like that's at one time I've seen them. I don't know if you've ever seen them all pick up at the Ritchie, but Ritchie, the Murphy Street location has horrible parking
Yeah.
for every aspect of anything, with the farmer's market, with, there's just not parking there. So when they go pick up there, it's a nightmare, because people are trying to cross the tracks, so that's a horrible place for pickup. This location will be actually better, because people can pull into the lot, park, there's a huge vacant lot before their house, so they can park, turn around and get back out of there. And it's not gonna affect anybody else driving by, except for the people coming in and out.
It says 10 to 20 cars per day, and it says Thursday through Saturday, and only from 5 to 6 PM,
So supper time, basically.
Right.
right?
Yeah. And in these applicants have operated a business in Alpine for a number of years. They've done so responsibly, with no major complaints that I'm aware of. So I think they're people that we can trust to work with the city if there are problems with traffic flow, for example. And it is a conditional use, which means it is each year has to be reconsidered. Is that what that word implies?
Conditional use means that it's not a normal type of business.
Right.
Or it's not like, I can tell you the definition on the.
It's basically semi-permanent unless it's revoked.
All right,
Is
which
that-
would
is
be
this-
caused by people complaining.
Yes.
If the neighbors start complaining.
And is that still in effect if they move from that property?
Yeah, if they move, they have to go through it all over again.
But the next person, if they want to do that, has to go
It's only
through it.
transferable through inheritance. Is that?
Yeah, it's the same way with short-term rentals. That's the same thing.
Okay,
It's only, they can't inherit it. Like if by purchasing land, it has to be through, like heir. That's the only way you can get it.
Okay. And I'm sure they have to do some other things from, you mentioned the Texas Health Board. I'm sure they're having to jump through hoops for those permits as well.
They have to have it inspected from a health inspector and have their health ticket before they can get a certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
So all those inspections have to take place before that happens. They're still in the rush. Because I told them that this would take a while to go through PNC and council, so.
Okay.
But that's their dream, is to have a commercial kitchen on their property. And they may develop it later when put a commercial building there. I mean, because technically they can. The only thing that messes with their idea is that the actual building is sitting on residential. It's not in their commercial land. Because they own both lots, but the one that they're using is not commercial.
But the one which will control traffic flow
It's
is
commercial.
commercial. Yeah.
well, I don't personally have an issue with this, more power to them. They've been doing this at the Ritchie, we've actually purchased stuff from them, dinner from them before, and they did a good job. I don't have an issue.
So we need a motion to pass action item C, is that correct?
Do we have any other discussion on item C?
Y'all just need to vote on that original motion to discuss the item. And you can either amend that original motion, or just do a separate.
I'll make a motion to discuss item C.
And we seconded it, so but we need to vote to
So let's.
do so.
Right.
Aye. All right. So then, I move that we accept item C, the conditional use permit. Do I need to read the whole thing, Jeff?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
All
Was
in
you supposed to
favor?
second?
I say aye, but let's just go ahead and vote on it.
Okay.
Sorry.
I vote
All
aye.
in favor of approving action item C as written? Say aye.
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 Hard to see eyes with masks.
Oh. So in that conditional special use permit for C, how much did they pay?
Special use, conditional use permit is the same for everyone. It's $350.
Okay, so let's move on to the next item, board member comments. Any comments from the board? Okay, and last item is adjournment. Want to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second that.
Okay, we're adjourned.